Next we have Pedro, who's going to present together with Tom, I guess, and well, have fun.
Thank you. Good afternoon. This is Tom here, and this is me, Pedro. We had similar organizations. IFABC is similar to ABC, what ABC was in the US. Alliance, currently it's AAM, Alliance for Audited Media. We started our companies, it's a tripartite, not-for-profit company that was, in the case of Brazil, started in 1961. In the case of US, I think 1914. And we're similar organizations and independent organizations. So, but we have common interests in terms of getting our markets the best opportunities for advertising in terms of transparency, in terms of safe environment for advertisers and agencies, and of course, fair competition between media. And we're not just circulation anymore. That's why we had different names these days in terms of organization, because we go beyond newspapers, magazines into digital mainly, but also out of home in some of our countries. And when I say some of our countries, it's because there are similar organizations to ours in every country, in many countries of the world. We have a federation, which is the IFABC, that has 36 countries represented there. And we are all very similar in terms of governance, being tripartite, not-for-profit, and also providing this kind of service for our own countries. And we have this product, this joint product that's available to other countries, and we're going to have soon more coming to this global alliance we set up between Canada, US, and Brazil. And in this case specific, we're going to address fraud and how we can do that with the product that we have. We have launched it, and it's being developed all the time. Here are some numbers about ad fraud, and I think it's important to notice that ad fraud is, in fact, the top of the funnel. I mean, when we talk about viewability, all of those are important factors, but if it's not served to a human, it's not going to work. I think in the morning we had a very good presentation about attribution. I mean, fraud is going to not pass attribution because it's not being seen by humans, right? But it's still a complex product for us to use across not only categories or different medias, but also to different media that we buy within a category, like different vehicles and all that. So it's important to address fraud, and there are many ways to do that. Here is a schematic about how this happens. It happens everywhere. We have bots. But one way to do, and I think that goes back to our principles in terms of when we were created as organizations, which is to get the good guys stand up, be checked, be audited, and so we can do that. Here are some numbers about ad fraud. I mean, it's in the news. It's not just small guys, but also big guys. And this is basically how we address this issue when we go audit our clients, publishers or websites. It doesn't need to have any kind of start or origin in terms of printed. It can be purely digital. But I think there are three elements here which are very important. Quantity verification. We need to look at the whole time if the audience of a specific site is true or not. Because, I mean, fraud is not going to happen in daylight. It's not going to happen when everybody's paying attention. But it's going to happen in times of need, when there is excess demand and lower inventory. So you need to take a look at those seasonalities, because there are seasonalities that are different in different markets, and that are also different for different suppliers, because they may be in need. quality verification to see, to check, and we have different tools, and Tom is going to show on a case. But I think there's another one which is important here, which is the business process review. I mean, to know how this company is being managed, what are the profits coming from, what kind of care do they take on serving their clients, the advertisers and agencies. If, for instance, if they serve good bots, like search bots, if they serve ads to those guys. I mean, it's natural to have this kind of non-human traffic in every website. And in fact, they are very well treated. But it doesn't make any sense for you to supply an ad to those bots. And those are the kinds of things we do when we review the business process and see how this company is run. But I think Tom has more details to share.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Pedro. Yeah, so this is, I think people get confused a little bit about what we do versus what other organizations like JIC-Webs or MRC does. And while we're focused on publisher audits, while someone like the MRC is focused on measurement audits, okay, the measurements. And so what we're doing is not creating new measurements. We're actually auditing a publisher to ensure that they are doing all the right things to provide a valid traffic to sell to advertisers. So that's what we're doing. A couple case studies, and then I'll talk you through a little bit about what we're seeing in terms of what the advertisers are saying to us and what the publishers are saying and doing in the market. In the U.S. in particular, and Canada, but in the U.S. in particular, marketers this is a hot topic, very hot topic. Allison just said it doubled in importance in the U.K., but it's been hot for a couple years, and they want something done about it. The ANA actually came to me in the ACA to say, what can you do about this problem? And so that's where the genesis of these publisher audits came from. But a couple case studies for you. And so I've never met a publisher that doesn't call themselves a premium publisher. I don't know what the definition of premium publisher is, but it's everybody that publishes something, I think. When I use a different terminology, I'm going to say that these are two premium publishers, or two companies that think that they're premium publishers and they think that they're doing the right thing. The one thing about what we're doing is no one comes to us to be audited unless they think they're doing the right thing. I'll show you a tale of two cities. The first case study is a quality publisher, what we call a quality publisher. They're implementing and executing the right business practices, and they're actually doing all the right things. So these are legitimate, actual examples of publishers that we've audited. I'm going to skim the waves a little bit here, but these publishers have a problem. Their problem is standing out in the cesspool that they operate in. So they're competing against outright fraudsters, and they're competing against other publishers that are committing fraud. And the source of what I would call a legitimate publisher, so someone who has legitimate content, the biggest problem is that when they buy source traffic. And source traffic can be bought in seconds. And so it takes a continuous audit, and that's what we're doing, a continuous audit of these publishers to ensure that they're doing the right thing. So this particular publisher, we go through a business process review. They've used accredited tech. Their quantities are correct, and they told us they're not sourcing traffic, and we verified that through three or four different checks and analysis that our auditors do. So we're able to verify. This is just an example of one of the dashboards that we use, and we're actually using technology as a smoke detector to look for suspicious traffic. So we're not using it to count how many bots there were. And bots aren't the only problem, because there's a lot of human redirected traffic that is even harder to catch, but we can catch it with the data that we see and the analysis that we do. So here's a dashboard. This guy's clean. All's good. The second example is a publisher who the CEO thinks they're doing all the right things, and yes, they're using accredited tech. Their quantities are correct. And they're sourcing traffic, and they're buying traffic from someone who tells them that it's human traffic, and the seller's not telling them the truth, And we went in and confirmed that it's not the truth, that the traffic is invalid traffic. So we work with the publisher to clean that situation up, and they don't get certified until that happens. Very quickly, I talked about this certification. It is a continuous audit. It's a not-for-profit organization doing it, and it is not fraud measurement, so it's different than anything that's out there, and so it takes a little bit to get your head around it. Very quickly, on the marketer side, what do we see? We're seeing a lot of marketers prioritize with white lists. They're buying through private marketplaces, buying direct, and they want more accountability. They are hiring people that are experts in this area now. See that quite often. Some have been doing it for a while, but it's kind of a trend. And they're requiring a higher level of accountability. What publishers are doing, they are doing the same thing. They're using accredited vendors, adhering to best practices, and actively managing their media monetization. So I'm out of time here, but that's a little bit about what they're doing. I'm happy to talk with you at any time in the next couple days more about this. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom and Pedro.